Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Gita series. Freedom from pains and miseries. To happy, healthy, and peaceful life. Based upon 108 mantras and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. My question and God's answers. And meditation. And pranam to Guruji Hariharji Maharaj for blessing us, getting together this morning and guiding us. So thank you, Guruji. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam, Path to Blissful Living. And whatever you see on this page, it's all blessing of Guruji. All these bestsellers on Amazon, including CDs, and guiding as a self-transformation coach, happiness coach to many people in the world, in the conferences, individuals, in the corporations. So thank you, Guruji, for coming in our life and Lord Krishna for bringing us together. Thank you. In today's series, 75, how to become a knower of the known through true knowledge. Chapter 13, verse 7 to 11. What is Kshetra field? And Kshetragna, knower of the field. How to become Kshetragna, knower of the field, through true knowledge. What is true knowledge? And how to gain that true knowledge? What are the benefits we are going to achieve? Why we should put all these efforts knowing, become the knower and know the supreme power, know the difference, who am I? And practices and homework. And then our sankalpa. I am witness. I am the knower. Through meditation and then question and answers. So let's all pray to get the guidance from the supreme power. Just like Arjuna, when he was confused, he asked his dear friend, who happened to be that supreme power, Lord Krishna, to guide him, to remove his confusion, delusion, his vishad, his fear, his worries. That why should he get involved with this Kurukshetra, the bloody war which he thought, instead of he understood that it was a Dharma Kshetra, it was the field of Dharma which he had to perform his duty. So let's all seek the guidance from Supreme Power very humbly and ask his advice. Karpanya dosho pahte swabhava paschami tvam dharma samud cheta yachar sayisyani nishchitam bruyatan me shishyaste aham shadimam tvam prapanyam shishyaste aham shadimam tvam prapanyam. Arjuna said, my heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all my composure, and my mind is confused about my duty, dharma. I am requesting you to tell me what is definitely good for me, not what am I asking you, because I'm your disciple. Now Arjuna has become the disciple from friend to disciple, and I surrender to you. Please instruct me. So the requirement is we have to humbly request his guidance. And while doing that, Arjuna, who said, Karishye vachanam tav, before he said, Najo tasyati gobindam. And now he said, Kariche vachanam tau. I will do as you advise. After going through the blissful teaching of Lord Krishna. So let's go through that blissful journey together and learn how to remove our confusion, our vishad, our fear, our worries, and perform our duty as needed. So Arjuna's request, and Lord Krishna blessed him, took him on this journey to remove his sorrows and gave him the wisdom of oneness, step by step. What is known to be? What is this true knowledge which helps one to understand that I am body, individual soul, and who is the supreme power? So Jiva, Jivatma, Paramatma, all that is going to be learned in this chapter 13, which we covered last week as well, part of it. And then how to go beyond it, how to reach our purpose of life, go beyond birth and death, and realize who we are. What is our true nature? I'm Sat Chit Ananda. So all this paragraph is prepared based on Hariharji Maharaj's teachings, his quotations. And here, previously we covered Karma Yoga, how to perform our action, how to perform with love and devotion, and now how to understand the true wisdom from chapter 13 to 18. And last week we covered Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga, verse 1 to 6, and today we will be covering 7 to 11. And through that path, finally, we will go beyond our limitations. We are the living being of individual who has the limited knowledge. We are the limited individuals. And now we are on the path of becoming the infinite individual, knowing all. So chapter 13, I will still summarize very quickly what we learned last week. Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhag Yoga, the path of knowing the Creator and His creation. So knowing the difference between body, this physical body, and the soul, the current which flows within us, and the supreme soul, who we are the fragment of their supreme soul. हम उसके अंश हैं. So understand their supreme soul. So Jiva, Jivatma, and Paramatma through true knowledge. And today we are going to cover the knowledge of self, God. What is this true knowledge? What is this metaphysical knowledge? What is this transcendental knowledge, integral knowledge? There are many names of it, but ultimately the knowledge of self. Who am I? How was I created? Knowledge of God. Who is God? Oneness. All through this, we will learn the message which Lord Krishna is giving us. Go beyond your limitations. Because previously Arjuna asked that question in chapter 12. Should I worship the God with form or without form? Duality or non-duality? Sakar Roop or Nirakar Roop? And at that time, Lord Krishna told him that focus on Sakar Roop, because Nirakar Roop is difficult. because it requires a lot of wisdom, gyan, true knowledge. However, now he is giving him this. He wants him to know, because Arjuna still is confused. So, because he is still asking the questions. So Lord Krishna takes him to further educating him, like when we are in high school and when we get into the college. So I call this undergraduate college, where we learn union with God, oneness with God, self-realization with God, through the path of knowing body, soul, and supreme soul. So true knowledge, we learned last week, the true knowledge of self. Self means small s and big S. Small s means who we, right now, we are in this body, so we are small s. How to become the higher self? We are at the lower self right now. How to go to the higher self, which means how to be the oneness with God, how to understand our superconscious and reach to that level. So by knowing the difference between body, soul, and supreme soul, which we learn, so we also learn that this body is made with 24 elements, which consist of ego, mind, intellect, and consciousness. So this body is made with 5 senses, these 5 elements. And that's why we are sometimes happy or unhappy, because these 5 elements are the form of gunas. These are the gunas. Whole Prakriti is made with gunas, 5 elements. Gunas, tamasic, rajasic, sattvic, ignorance, passion, and goodness. So this body is the foundation of human life, though it has all these limitations, all these characteristics and the elements, because without body, soul cannot do anything, because everything in the universe is made with matter and energy. Like this body, what you feel, you touch, this is all body. This is all the function of mind. What flows in the body, that current, that is the soul, that is the energy we are talking about. So everything in the universe is made with matter and energy. So knowing this, how to know this? We have learned a part of it. We learned about this body, that body is made with matter and energy, with 24 elements. Also, tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. But what is the true knowledge? How can we become the knower unless we know? Though we learn about the body, but we still need to learn more about, in this one, the chapter is called Knower, how to become the knower. So knower, and the objective of the knower means this body, which wants to know, wants to become a Kshetrajna. But how? Has to know the knowledge. So this is the true knowledge, the true wisdom. Lord Krishna has given it, explained it so well. The knower must know the true knowledge to become the knower. In other words, one must know the true knowledge to become the knower. Who am I? So he describes it here in these 5 verses. And they cannot be separated. That's why I put them together. And this is basically the summary of it, that what are the qualities one has to develop? What are the hallmarks? What is the true knowledge consist of? Because this is a path to oneness, to liberation. So we must understand that in this universe, this mind is the one which controls lot our existence here. But the mind is controlled by the intellect, and intellect is controlled by the supreme power, super soul. And that's where we are, the Jiv Atma. So how to become the knower and the know the known? We must understand this. Anything we want to know, it is called the triad of knowledge. Gyan Triputi. Know, knower, and known. Know means we are all here. We want to be a knower. But what we want to know? We want to know that we are the body made with soul. And where does the soul, supreme soul is a small portion of the fragment of the supreme power. So we want to know the field, means this body, and then the soul which goes in it, and then जो इस body को चला रहा है, the creator. So in other words, creator and the creation. So we need to know who is the creator and what is the creation. Creation is, part of the creation is this body, this mother nature. Anything you see with is all nature, including our body. And whatever we see, it is all temporary. But the supreme power, the current which flows in our body, it never destroys. It changes from one form to another form, one field to another field, because it's a permanent. So this is what we need to know, that body is temporary, whatever we see with our eyes, and what makes us to know this difference is called the supreme knowledge. So the requirement to become the knower and the known, the knower must know the true knowledge. Then he will understand who is God, who is Paramatma. So that this is the basic requirement. Become from knower, just a field, Kshetra to Kshetragna. And we must understand this part of it. It's a little bit difficult. That's why I put this specifically, the Triputi, triad of knowledge. 3 things. Number 1, this body. The one who wants to know what the person wants to know, what this field wants to know, what this Jiva Atma wants to know. Once he knows that, or she knows that, becomes a Kshetragna. Means know the difference, that I am body, but the soul is the one, the supreme power is the one who runs this body, because with this body, nothing can be done if the soul is not there. It's a dead, it's a Shiv Shakti. Shiv Shakti. Shakti is the one which moves this body, does all the action, fulfill the field of action. So we have to understand the body, the current which flows within us, it makes us a Jivatma. Now from Jivatma to Paramatma, how can we realize him, experience him? How can we go to Paramdham, divine board? So the knowledge, this knowledge is very, very important. So now coming back to this knowledge again. See, our body operates with 2 forces. Everybody has 2 forces, negativity and positive forces. That Atma, which is the correct, these are the hallmarks of the Atma, which we'll talk about. And also the other energy, which we call it the negative ignorance part of it. Depending on our conscious level, whether we could be ignorant or we could be at this level. For example, Arjuna went to the lower conscious level. He got confused. And then Lord Krishna pulled him back with the wisdom, with the true knowledge. And he tells him what is required to know the supreme power, what is required to know. One needs to know. And this is the only path to liberation. So what are those requirements? Number one, humility. One has to be very humble. Non-violence. Not just pretending to be, but with the body, with the mind, with the speech, everything has to be practiced with the non-violence. Forgiveness, honesty, service to spiritual guru. In other words, selfless service where we do not expect anything back, whether it is to guru or whether it is to the society. But we should do it with a firm commitment. Not someday we can do it, other day we cannot do it. But many things comes, and it comes like, okay, today is a particular day, holiday, let me not do my spiritual practices, or maybe not even attend this session because some limitations. And that's where we have to be self-control of our mind. We should not be like a ping pong. One day we should do it, other day we should not do it. We should have a full commitment. And then it's a dispassion toward sense objects, like God has given us the senses to make a best use of it. See good, hear good, think good, do good, go to nice places. We should not be overtaken by our free will, which God has given us to go on the path of oneness, on the practice spirituality, and experience the God and self, in other words, God realization, self-realization. So we should not be running after our taste, and that's where it says here, all this is basically summary. And if you look at these, we have actually discussed these previously in many different sessions. In Karma Yoga, people who possess these qualities, they are known as Karma Yogi. In the previous session, Bhakti Yoga, person who possesses these qualities becomes very dear to God. He says, God says, who is dear to me? Who possesses these qualities. Here he's saying very differently, but we must know these qualities. We must know this knowledge. And these are also the hallmarks of jnani versus ignorance. So here it says absence of egoism, constant reflection of whatever we are suffering, self-inquiry. That's why we go into the homework and check ourselves, what we are doing and what we need to do. And then whatever we do it for the best. Sarv dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam braj. Aham tam sarv papebhyo mokshashyami ma shute. Do everything without having the feeling of doership. Then always be in equanimity. Mind, I know many times we get into situations where we become very emotional. And Lord Krishna says, be witness, watch your emotions, watch your behavior, watch yourself, how you speak, how you think, how you talk. But Not just that you do it sometime, other time, it says constantly, always be in equanimity, which is a kind of difficult, and that's why we do the spiritual practices to remind us. And also once we do that, when we are in, then it's easy. Not it's easy. We all have experiences that when we do the mantras all the time, spiritual practices, then even the difficult time comes, it does not take us that long to come back to the equanimity, back to our normal state of thinking, positive thinking, calming down. In other words, it takes us less time to calm down. But again, reminder is here, mindfulness, and that mindfulness comes with mantra or many other spiritual practices. And then solitude. This is a very important one, because many times we are so drawn to go to different places, and especially if we relate to ourselves with the more previous years, like 10 years, 20 years from previously from now, or in our past, we were more drawn toward going to parties, running around, going from one place to another place, and wanted to see the whole world. And now Lord Krishna says, sit down, be quiet, be silent, stillness. Because whenever we go somewhere, doesn't matter whoever it is, at least, I'm just sharing my own experiences. For 24 hours, my mind would be going toward those. Whether if I go to parties, I'm thinking about the conversation I had, the parties I had, the food I had, because it's a nature of the mind. So that's why it says you should minimize, do whatever is necessary, but don't just going all those places. And especially, we should not get involved with gossiping, because when we go to different places, many times we get into gossips. And he says again, steadfastness. We should have a full commitment to attain. Attain means develop these qualities, which is called divine qualities. But here the name is requirement, hallmarks of Jnani, true knowledge. And then finally see the presence of God, feel the presence of God everywhere. And see his play in every human being. So in summary, the requirement to become the knower and know the known means once we know these things, we will be so calm, we will experience the presence of God. So now here comes the ignorance. That's where the difference comes. But if we are in this state, we will be very sad. And what are these qualities? Hypocrisy, violence, revenge, taking revenge from others, dishonesty, disrespect of others, uncleanliness means not pure, and longing for the sense objects. Here it says the control, here it says opposite, all these qualities. So that's where he says all this is said to be the knowledge. All this what we study is knowledge. However, here is anything opposite of this, which is I give the examples of it. What are these opposite? All these are opposite. Unsteadiness, here it says steadiness, here is unsteadiness. Lack of self-control, here it says self-control. And entanglement is different all the time in the family and the friends and all that, which is good to have that. Thanksgiving is good for that, is a good example of it. At the same time, if we get too much involved with that, those become barriers to developing our self-knowledge. So all this is said to be knowledge. All this what we here 19 hallmarks, qualities are sign of wisdom. So one develops any one of them, you can recognize. Sometimes people ask, how can you recognize a spiritual people? How do I know I am becoming spiritual or I'm spiritual? If you experience any of these qualities within you, then you are on that path. So all this is said to be knowledge, wisdom, gyan, and whatever is opposite to this is called ignorance. Anytime if we feel or someone feels or is a dishonesty, lying, or violence in the speech or behavior, or negative thoughts, not keeping our commitments, getting drawn by the other circumstances, these all are the barriers to developing our self-knowledge. So again, the requirement to become the knower, Kshetragna, and know the known. Known means what we need to know here. Know supreme power. See, as I said, three things. We are the one who are trying to field this body, this field. Kshetra is trying to become the Kshetragna. How? With this true knowledge. And what is the Kshetragna? Two levels. One which we are trying and we are becoming by this one. But once we reach to that level, ultimate Kshetragna, who is that? That's the creator. So this is the path from the Kshetra to Kshetragna, and then the supreme, knowing the supreme power, the creator, become the creator. So field, knower of the field, and the Paramatma who knows everybody, because knower of the field, we become with these ones, but again, we know about only ourselves. Supreme power knows all. That's the difference between Jeev, Atma and Paramatma. Paramatma knows everything in the universe, and we just are a small, limited soul who knows only about our own body. So practice, practice, practice. Know your field, body and the creator. Again, these are the practices we have to do. That God is all. We have just a witness. We have to practice the witness, because there is another name of God is Sakshi, witness. So we have to, by practicing witnessing, observing ourselves, focusing on ourselves, by little, this witnessing a small thing, we ultimately become Sakshi, ultimate witness. So develop the divine qualities, knowledge, wisdom. So again, body, field, soul, knower of the field, together become the Jivatma, individual being, which I said, since we are in this body, we have 24 elements, we are made with gunas, tamsic, rajasic, sattvic, so we are limited. Our knowledge is limited. But once we gain this true knowledge, develop these divine qualities, and not all that, even if we become humble, the rest of us we become calm. So rest of them will follow. And this is the way we can go beyond, go to the oneness. So in summary, we purify ourselves, cleanse ourselves, get rid of this ignorance, go to the next conscious level, which is the sattvic level, rajasic to sattvic. So that's the transformation comes. And then when eventually we become gunatit and experience Satchitananda. So Narse Narayan, this is the path to go from Narse Narayan, oneness, one individual one, to oneness with all. And again, as I said, once we practice, we do not have to feel bad. And again, you know, this is my favorite bhajan, so I put it here. No more meli chadar od ke kaise dwar tumhare aun. Kyunki we are on this path. We are developing true knowledge, these divine qualities, these hallmarks of Jnani. We are becoming Jnani. So we don't have to be embarrassed about our vices, our impurities. वो दाग सारे मिट जाएंगे चद्दर पर. So practice, practice, practice from morning to night, starting the day with love and compassion, with selfless service and mantras. Read the message, whatever motivates you, takes you to higher conscious level, calms you down. And of course, taking care of body is very, very important. Here it says, because we are made with body and energy. The matter and energy. So the matter, this is the matter. We have to take good care of our body, because without body, soul cannot do anything, and without soul, body cannot do anything. So both are important. Therefore, taking care of body with yoga exercises, pranayam, meditation, prayers, then we are taking care of both body and the soul. And then contemplate, practice during the day, whatever habits we want to change, whatever qualities we want to improve, whatever we want to practice, learn more, practice more, bring it in our system, like more, we want to become more humble, then we have to practice more. Take a one point and evaluate in the evening, how did I do it? And then continue to practice. And at the end, say thank you. Because Lord Krishna says, I will take care of you. Moksha Shami Ma Shucha, don't worry. So then just thank you, thank you, thank you. And at the night before going to bed, just say thank you for the day we have and surrender to Him. So our homework, again, be aware, live in awareness. That's why first thing, we should live in awareness and remind ourselves that do I have the supreme goal of self-realization, oneness with God. So self-inquiry, so Dhyaya Bhyasnam is very, very important. And also here, I put it again here, anger and hate dig holes. Means these are all ignorance, but love and kindness moves the mountains. So we should develop these divine qualities, these hallmarks of divinity. Become Sakshi and live 100% in the consciousness of supreme power. Observe His play and see, and continuously live in mindfulness and meditation. And then here is the final one. Am I gaining true knowledge? Am I developing divine qualities? Am I being more humble, more steadfastness, more faith? Do I see God in others? All this self-inquiry is very, very important. It's not our weaknesses that we keep questioning ourselves and we are doubting ourselves. No, we should take the self-inquiry in the form of Sadhyaya Bhyasnam and continue to practice, 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 and become the bhakta, become the oneness with God. So our sankalpa is, I experience God in all, omnipresent, see God everywhere. So I witness the play of all. I am the witness, and continue to practice this, because he says, sankalpa, once we have this sankalpa of raising our conscious level, then all these sankalpas of the kamnas, desires, goals become small. They become a part of our moving toward the higher conscious level. And little by little, we will experience happy, healthy, and peaceful life. And experience Satchit Ananda. So, just a reminder here, it's not a quick fix. Because previously we learned, Lord Krishna said, thousands know the purpose of one's life, but only one in billions continues on this path. So it's not a quick fix. We must have a patience, but our commitment is that we should stay on this path, continue to put the seed in this field of spirituality, these practices. And once we do, these practices will eventually bear the fruits, with the flowers and fruits with the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So we should continue to practice, practice, practice. So thank you very much for this. I put it here step by step. Why? Because first we knew about the field, our body. Now we knew about the knowledge, self-knowledge. And the next session, we will know who is the supreme power and how to combine all this trinity, all these three things: body, knowledge, and the knower of the body. And what to know? We need to know the God. So once we know that, we will attain oneness with supreme power. So thank you very much for joining and attaining the oneness with supreme power.